How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Sorcery Contested Realm video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we're going to talk about what Sorcery is and how it differs from other TCGs out there, because I believe, well, I don't believe, it just is a very different trading card game from what is available on the market. And we're not just talking about the art here. Yes, the art is absolutely phenomenal, but we're not just talking about the art in today's video. Also, before we get started, I do want to show you basically what I'm going to call the coolest, or maybe one of the premier wombo combos of Sorcery when the game first launches. We have Body Swap combined with the Doomsday Device. Now, the Doomsday Device is a relic where you can pick it up with your avatar or your minions. You should definitely not pick it up with your avatar because it explodes and does an absurd amount of damage in a very, very large radius. You only have a few turns to get it to your opponent's sites and units. However, you can just body swap whatever minion you give the Doomsday Device and drop it right into your opponent's base, right on top of their avatar. I would highly recommend, since this is a water card, the Body Swap, you can give one of your little tiny frog tokens the Doomsday Device and then swap it right into their base and blow everything up. I love Sorcery. I think this game is fantastic, and I think stuff like this is why it's going to be so much fun to play, other than the brilliant artwork. And if it wasn't obvious already, the artwork in this game is absolutely phenomenal, all hand painted, and that is actually part of what we're going to talk about today. There are going to be 400 cards in the very first Sorcery set, the Sorcery Alpha set, in which these cards are going to be printed. These are all test print cards, different test print cards. These ones are the original super early test print cards that Eric sent to me. You can tell by like the back of the cards are much different than this one. Here, let me set some stuff aside. You can kind of see the difference here, and even the back. You can tell the difference of the corners and the borders of the stuff. It's significantly different, even in between the test print cards. So this is the test print booster card, and this is one of the test print starter cards he gave me. So there's going to be 400 cards. I kind of went on a tangent there. 400 cards in the main set. Every single piece of artwork in this game is hand painted. These are all physical, original paintings that exist somewhere in the world. And because of that, the sets are going to take a long time to make. And also, the sets are huge. They're going to be 400 cards, which means several different things. The first thing is that it means there's only going to be about 1 or 2 sets released a year, because it just takes so much time to make that many pieces of hand-painted artwork. Now, we don't know if the following sets are going to be, the same size, like 400 cards, but I imagine they're going to be decently sized. It seems that's the direction that they want to go. And because of that, it makes the sets more exciting to open and make some of the unique cards more hard to get, just rarer by virtue of there just being so many cards in the set. But it also makes it so that you have a lot of time to fill out your collection in between sets, right? So if there's only one set a year, but there's 400 cards, there's a really good chance it's going to take you a lot of booster boxes to open up all the cards and get a full play set of everything you need. Or you can just, buy singles or whatever. But it means you also have a lot of time. So it's geared more towards casual players, where there's not a huge rush just to get everything and just to buy it all up as soon as possible. Just dump it all, go. No, you have a whole year. You have a whole year to do this. And once there is some more like a revised or unlimited set, and you can just buy it at your local game store, it'll be more easy to do so. So that's 2 things that you should keep in mind. Huge set, 400 cards, and then also that they're only going to be released about once per year. And that's they both kind of go into the same mindset that I think you should go into with Sorcery, and that's more of a board gamey, casual mindset. Now, that's not to say you can't be competitive, because there's some really cool stuff like I showed off at the start of the video. You can do some really nasty things. But it's still encompassing this fun, more casual, laid back, board gamey type feel. And because of that, there's also going to be no organized play. So there's no real incentive to make literally the best deck possible. There's no reason to like net deck stuff because there's no tournaments for you to win money or anything like that. It's more of a kitchen table, fun, casual kind of thing. A lot of people I've been talking to are treating it more like a traditional card game, right? Where there's going to be a new set every 3 months. They're going to be like 150 card sets or whatever. There's going to be organized play, so there's just going to be people just trying to build the best decks and trying to win money. None of that is here. That's not what Sorcery is. Sorcery is just a high quality, premium, trading card game that functions more like a board game. I tell people to think about it more like Arkham Horror, right? Where it's a great game to play. You can just, bust open the starter decks or, customize whatever you want and then just have a ton of fun at the kitchen table. You can have your own house rules where you play with a bunch of people, like a multiplayer style. I've been playing with those test decks for 6 months now, and I just had a blast with just playing with those. And the fact that now I'm going to be able to augment those with more cards is just like so much. It's just like icing on the cake, basically. That is the mindset that I think folks should approach Sorcery with. It is not like any other card game on the market here. They are going for quality over quantity. That's a really important thing I want to note. Quality over quantity in terms of the art, in terms of the flavor, and in terms of the gameplay. Now, the gameplay isn't going to be super mechanically nuts and bolts like a Flesh and Blood kind of thing. Flesh and Blood is fantastic for those really competitive people who want to eke out as much advantage as they can. Sorcery is not like that. I mean, you can get advantage over time through Sorcery, with tempo, but you can also just teleport in a bomb and blow up your opponent's stuff. Like, it's an insane game with huge, flashy, splashy moments. They're like actually epic moments. I don't like using the word epic a lot, but they're truly epic moments where you create these stories, right? Like, I have a couple stories of my own, like the time that my partner, Robin, flooded the world and drowned all of my armies because she set up her sites in a way that when she played this card that flooded everything adjacent to them, it just flooded everything that I had, and the way that it works, all my dudes just drowned. You have these moments, and even though I ended up losing that game, it's still something I fondly remember because it's so much fun. And there's so many other things like the time that my bullfrog ate her mountain giant, like my little frog ate her freaking mountain giant that takes up like 4 squares. It's so much fun and feels more like I said, like a board game, like Arkham Horror, but also kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like, you just have these epic stories, and even if you lose the story, like even if you're playing your D&D campaign, you're fighting against the boss and the boss kills you, you still have a really cool story, and that's what I feel that Sorcery is, right? That's really what it is. So it's not, if you are like a competitive grinder kind of person, you're just in it to win and get money, Sorcery might not be the game for you. But if you just want to have these really fun experiences at the kitchen table, I think it's totally for you. And one thing I haven't talked about, I think, just straight up, Sorcery is the absolute perfect second game for a lot of card game players out there. Now, this is something that I haven't talked a lot about on the channel, but a lot of people really only have a couple card games that they play, right? I'm a weird anomaly, right? I play a lot of card games because it's my job and I just love card games. I just love card games so much. And a lot of people can only handle a couple, right? And so they have maybe their main game. Maybe they have Magic the Gathering or Flesh and Blood or whatever it is. But Sorcery is going to be the perfect second game for basically any card game player out there because there's only one set a year, so you don't have to keep buying stuff over and over and over again to stay relevant. And that it's like so fun and casual and splashy and epic, you don't have to really worry that much about making the most fine-tuned deck available. You just play whatever you like and play whatever's the most fun, and that makes like the barrier so low. Like, the barrier to make a deck and just to have one and just bring it around and play, at the LGS or the kitchen table, the barrier is super low. You just need a deck and you're good to go. You can just buy the starter decks and then just kind of like upgrade them over the course of an entire year, and you'll be as relevant as everyone else. Maybe there's going to be the people who just buy all of the, cases and cases of booster boxes, and maybe they'll have everything, but who cares? There's no competitive play. You just play whatever you like. And if you need, specific cards, and if you find some uniques that you really like, buy them, trade for them. It's like super casual. So it's just the perfect perfect second game. It's also really, really good for people on a budget and people who just don't have time to keep up with all of the, you know, competitive play. You know, you don't have time to keep up with like every single new season, you know, your new modern season, your new skirmish season. You don't have to keep up with all the meta games. You can just buy a deck and just play it, and you still have the fun of opening booster packs and finding new cards, you know, opening up, you know, your first big ol' dragon and putting that into your fire deck, that kind of stuff. And that's where I think Sorcery truly shines. And all of this basically just culminates in the notion that it's not a trading card game like any other trading card game out there. I think it really is establishing its own niche in the market. It's not trying to be Flesh and Blood or Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or MetaZoo or Grand Archive or anything like that. It's super unique, both in terms of art quality, in terms of game philosophy, and just how the game is run. Now, I honestly believe Sorcery is probably the second most fun game that I play. Flesh and Blood is my favorite game. It's the most fun I have playing, but Sorcery is just so much fun. It's a completely different experience. It's getting close, like it's getting close. We'll see how I like it once I have access to more cards and I can build more decks and maybe mix the elements and play with new avatars and all of this kind of stuff. I'm so excited for it. It is just that much fun. So if you are watching this video, the Kickstarter's out right now, and you are on the fence, just pick up the starter decks. It is so much fun. Now, I do want to say one thing about the Kickstarter right now. There is no limit to the number of booster boxes you can buy. So if you want to go in on Sorcery, go deep, you can do that, right? You can just buy as many boxes as you want. This is going to be the only time that you can get these Kickstarter boxes. Now, I have confirmed it with the creators of the game. They will be hoping to release a revised or unlimited set in the future. But if you want these Kickstarter boxes with the extra promos and all that stuff inside, you should support the Kickstarter. When I'm telling everyone, people are asking, oh, what do I need to get like everything? Honestly, that's not how you should approach it. If you've listened to everything in this video so far, you'll know you don't need everything. There's no organized play. There's no real incentive to make the best deck possible other than just winning at the kitchen table. And so if money is a constraint for you, like it is for almost everyone out there, just buy the starter decks and then whatever amount of booster boxes you can reasonably afford. And then you can just upgrade the starter decks with whatever you open in the booster boxes, and that will be enough, right? That will be more than enough for you to play with your friends and family and have an absolute blast, right? Even if you're like, maybe you're splitting this with your sibling or loved one or something, you can be like, oh, I'll take all of the fire and earth cards and you can take all the wind and water cards or whatever. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. And I think the game is just super open in that regard. It's not, the fact that it's not hyper competitive and nuts and bolts has some, you know, downsides, right? It's not going to attract those people who are into that kind of stuff, but it will easily attract the more casual crowd. And honestly, it's just a game that I really like to play. It's just so much fun. It's one of the games that I'm going to continue to play with my partner. It's going to be the first card game that she's going to be excited to open up booster packs with me. So that's just saying a lot. So thank you for watching this video today. I hope I gave everyone a better idea of what Sorcery is and kind of what it isn't. It is more casual, less releases. It'll be easier on your wallet in the long run. Really, really good for people who are already playing a card game, a really, really good second card game, the perfect second card game, or just really, really good for casual players who only have time to play card games occasionally and don't have a lot of time to spend a crap load of money on every single set that comes out. You can just buy whatever you want and you're good to go. And it's not really for those nuts and bolts, you know, TCG tournament grinders, unless you want to have a cool casual experience. You know, maybe there is room in your repertoire for just a fun casual thing to play when you're not trying to win all those tournaments. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will be doing more Sorcery content in the future. It is one of my favorite games. I currently rank it as my second favorite game if we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. And I'm so excited for the Kickstarter. They're currently over $2 million. They are the #1 most funded trading card game in history by a large margin, by like double the previous, right? I think the previous was maybe Grand Archive or Nostalgics, one of those ones. and now Sorcery is doubled, and they are approaching, you know, one of just the most funded tabletop games in history. I think they're already in the top 100 or something. It's crazy. So Sorcery is fantastic. I definitely think you should check it out. And let me know what kind of content you would like to see in regards to Sorcery in the future. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more. It's hard to do gameplay for Sorcery, but I'm trying to think of other interesting things I can do for the game. So just let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this far, and see you next time.